Oh, so it's episode 30. It seems like just yesterday we turned 20. I'm so bad at all accents. We've had this discussion. Welcome to this episode of AskJackD. It's episode 30. In this episode, I talk about how to get noticed in the media to build your personal brand or the brand of your business, and the number one mistake most early stage entrepreneurs that you really shouldn't.
With me, I'm here doing God's work. On a mission, had to listen and just observe. On the world stage, this life is my concert. That's why
It's getting serious. Hello, welcome to episode 30 of AskJackD. Today we are taking a question from Twitter from Just Called to Say, who asks, what's the easiest way to get the media to feature your business? And this is a really good question for any startup or growth stage business. And the reason is because when we start out in business, guys, we have less, right? We have less than the business down the road that's been going for 5 years. We've got less than the multinational we're trying to disrupt. We've got less money. We've got less credibility. We've got less brand. We've got less customers. We've got less database. And the thing with PR and media is it can be a way to build all of those things for free, right? As startup business owners, we need to become masters of leverage, which is doing more with less. It is an unfair game. When you have less than everybody else that's playing, the playing field isn't level, right? It's not to say it's unfair. It's just to say it's not level yet. So we need to find innovative, really cost-efficient, free techniques and strategies that we can use to get noticed. The difference between walking in and having a conversation with a potential customer who already knows you and knows what you're about and doesn't, the difference between those two things is very great. The difference between walking into a conversation with a potential investor and having them already know you is important. The difference between walking into a potential strategic partner, a potential staff member, a potential strategic partner, whatever it might be, if they already know you because you've got a bit of a profile, it helps immensely, right? Most people get PR very wrong, and they get it wrong by going, they release a press release and it says XYZ company has just launched, we're going to revolutionize XYZ industry because we're doing XYZ, and if you want to talk to us about XYZ, contact us at xyz.com. The problem is it's all about them. One of the fundamental lessons that I needed to learn in about 2006 with regard to PR, when I sat down with a friend of mine who I had a high degree of trust in, particularly when it comes to PR and brand building, and I showed her all the stuff that we were releasing for our business at the time, was MBE Education. And she said, Jack, I'm going to tell you something and you need to understand this. It might hurt a little bit, but it'll help. And I said, Jessie, just give it to me. And she said, Jack, nobody gives a shit about Jack. You need to say something that's relevant and pertinent to the story that's already going on in the media. So on the back of that advice, I was able to go out and manufacture a system. It's a 4-step system that we have used to we get between 60 and 100 press features every single month, be it magazines, newspapers, radio, television, blogs, whatever it might be, between 60 and 100 of them. This is the 4-step process that our clients have used to generate literally tens of millions of dollars in free PR over the last 5 years here at the Entourage, because it simply works, right? So just called to say, really good question. Let's go through the 4 steps. Gresho's going to bring it up here as we go through. Number 1, find an existing issue. Whatever you are doing in terms of your business, find something that's already being spoken about in the media right now that you could talk to. So when Entourage was starting, there was a lot of stuff going around. So Entourage started out as a brand for entrepreneurs under 40. And a lot of the stuff in the media at the time was, there was all these reports and all of these media commentary going on about how Gen Y were lazy, disloyal, unprofessional, couldn't communicate. And so that was very topical at the time, right? So we would write press releases according to that existing issue, saying, yeah, that might be true, but we've gone out and studied thousands of Gen Ys, and here was what they have to say. Because we'd heard from corporates, we'd heard from governments, we'd heard from previous generations. No one had given Gen Y a voice yet. So we did that with a bunch of research, and then we took that to market. Very successful media campaign. So step 1, find an existing issue that can tie back to your place in the world. It can tie back to you and your business. Number 2, develop a unique stance. So once you've found an existing issue, you can go yes and, meaning you could add to it, you could further it, or you can go yes but, meaning you can argue with it and counter against it. Yes but is always more effective than yes and, because it creates debate, it creates controversy, it sets the scene for a boxing match, which is awesome. Step 1, find an existing issue. Step 2, develop a unique stance. What is your unique stance? How is what you are saying different? Step 3, develop your facts and stats. Back, when I was sort of first doing some media stuff and building a profile in the early years, we'd never go to market with Jack's opinion, right? Sometimes we do now, but we didn't back then. We would always either generate facts and stats, or we'd find a report that had the facts and stats that we needed, and we'd leverage off that report, or, as I said, we'd go to market, we'd do some research, we'd create our own. It's really important, guys, that when we go to market for media stuff, we're genuinely credible, meaning we're not manufacturing facts and stats that skew the issue. Whatever we're saying needs to be true and authentic, and it needs to be genuinely backed up with real and accurate and high integrity data, right? So number 3, develop your facts and stats. Whether you develop them or whether you find them somewhere else, you need them. We need them for credibility. And then number 4 is you are the example or the messenger. Right? You are the example or the messenger. So I'll give you an example of that. Let's go back to the Gen Y issue I spoke about before, the Entourage. The existing issue was Gen Y are lazy and disloyal and all that sort of stuff. Our unique stance was that Gen Y are a very entrepreneurial generation. Discipline doesn't work. They don't have a high degree of fear. They're very adaptive to change. Therefore, they need to be inspired. And corporate Australia wasn't doing what was required, in my view, still isn't, in inducting or training or leading individuals from a heart and mind basis, right? We developed facts and stats around getting facts and stuff from Gen Ys that spoke about, how they weren't satisfied. Some of them were taking a more entrepreneurial path. And then we put me in as the example. So one example of a young entrepreneur in Australia who has bucked the trend of corporate Australia is Jack Delosa. And he has done blah, blah, blah. And Jack Delosa says, insert quote here, right? So in that instance, I am the example of what I'm talking about. You'll either be the example, so you will be the personification, or your brand will be the example of what you're talking about, or you'll be the messenger, which is you developed a whole bunch of facts and stats. And it's a survey recently conducted by the Entourage states that, right? In which case we're just the messenger of the unique stance backed up by the facts and stats that speak to the existing issue. If you can get all of those ducks in a row, PR becomes incredibly effective and a lot easier, because you start doing the journalists' work for them. And journalists are content hungry, they want the content, they need it yesterday, they're deadline driven. If you can give them a press release that's written and it's relevant and it's factual and it's credible and it's controversial and it gives you a bit of room to shine as well as an example or a messenger within there, they're going to be very, very happy with that. And that's the game. Do their job for them, get it to them, follow that process, and keep me posted with your successes as you start to get out all of those press releases. That was episode number 30. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll speak to you guys.